Today, we'll read out a story from the book A Fistful of Wisdom by the modern monk Om Swami. This is the story from the great epic Mahabharata, a story of faith and surrender, of destiny and divinity. This incident happened when legions of troops from all over the country were being mobilized to fight one of the bloodiest battles in the history of India, the great war between the Kauravas and the Pandavas that lasted 18 days. The battlefield of Kurukshetra was being prepared to facilitate the movement of mammoth armies with large cavalries. Areas were marked out for rival camps. Huge bundles of wood were organized to cook food for a sea of armies. They used elephants to uproot trees and clear the ground. On one such tree lived a sparrow, a mother of 4 young ones. As the tree was being knocked down, her nest landed on the ground along with her offspring, too young to fly miraculously unharmed. The vulnerable and frightened sparrow looked around for help. Just then she saw Krishna scanning the field with Arjuna. They were there to physically examine the battleground and devise a winning military strategy before the onset of the war. She flapped her tiny wings with all her might to reach Krishna's chariot. "Please save my children, O Krishna," the sparrow pleaded. "They will be crushed tomorrow when this battle starts." "I hear you," said he, the omniscient one, "but I can't interfere with the laws of nature. All I know is that you are my savior, O Lord. I rest my children's fate in your hands. You can kill them or you can save them. It's up to you now." "The wheel of time moves indiscriminately." Krishna spoke like an ordinary man, implying that there wasn't anything he could do about it. "I don't know any philosophy," the sparrow said with faith and reverence. "You are the wheel of time. That's all I know. I surrender to thee. Stock food for 3 weeks in your nest then." Unaware of the ongoing conversation, Arjuna was trying to shoo away the sparrow when Krishna smiled at the bird. She fluttered her wings a few times in obeisance and flew back to her nest. 2 days later, just before the boom of the corns announced the commencement of the battle, Krishna said Arjuna for his bow and an arrow. Arjuna was startled because Krishna had vowed to not lift any weapon in the war. Besides, Arjuna believed that he was the best archer out there. "Order me, Lord," he said with conviction. "Nothing is impenetrable for my arrows." Quietly taking the bow from Arjuna, Krishna took aim at an elephant. But instead of bringing the animal down, the arrow hit the belt around its neck and sparks flew. Arjuna couldn't contain his chuckle seeing that Krishna missed an easy mark. "Should I?" he offered. Again ignoring his reaction, Krishna gave him back the bow and said that no further action was necessary. "But why did you shoot at the elephant, Keshav?" Arjuna asked. "Because this was the elephant that had knocked down the tree sheltering the sparrow's nest." "Which sparrow?" Arjuna exclaimed. "Plus the elephant is unhurt and alive, only the bell is gone." Dismissing Arjuna's questions, Krishna instructed him to blow his conch. The war began, and numerous lives were lost over the next 18 days. The Pandavas won in the end. Once again, Krishna took Arjuna with him to navigate through the ruddy field. Many dead bodies still lay there waiting their funeral. The battleground was littered with severed limbs and heads, lifeless teats and elephants. Krishna stopped at a certain spot and looked down thoughtfully at an elephant bell. "Arjuna," he said, "will you lift this bell for me and put it aside?" The instruction, though simple, made little sense to Arjuna. After all, in the vast field where plenty of other things needed clearing, why would Krishna ask him to move an insignificant piece of metal out of the way? He looked at him questioningly. "Yes, this bell," Krishna reiterated. "It's the same bell that had come off the elephant's neck I had shot at." Arjuna bent down to move the heavy bell without another question. As soon as he lifted it, his world changed forever. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. 4 young birds flew out, one after another, followed by a sparrow. The mother bird swirled in circles around Krishna. praying him in great joy. The one bell Krishna had cleaved 18 days ago had protected the entire family. Forgive me, O Krishna, said Arjuna. Seeing you in human body and behaving like ordinary mortals, I had forgotten who you really are. I have always had that faith doesn't mean life will go according to you. Instead, it means that you learn to get along with life. You recognize that life must run its own course, that your individual life is a tiny, albeit an integral part of a grand play of nature, an immensely grand play actually. Krishna had left the sparrow in the battlefield, for it was destined to be there. The bird might have wished to be somewhere safer with the children. She could have argued with Krishna to take her family with him. She could have begged that they give her 3 weeks of food, but she didn't do any of those. She simply followed the instruction and left it in the hands of one she believed in. She didn't forego the effort expected from her. Many people see faith or surrender as a way to have their dreams come true. They believe that if they pray to some god, their wishes will be granted. This is not how nature operates. It can't afford to do. For we often wish for the wrong things. We desire certain outcomes without realizing or understanding the cost of those desires. We forget that our choices are intricately linked to our fate. They shape our destiny. In wanting the good stuff alone, we only see what we want to see. Yes, you can grow a seedless melon, but not a skinless one. Nature puts a protective covering on everything. Removing that layer can be sometimes tedious or messy, but without it, the fruit will perish before it even ripens. Some part of our life will inevitably go in peeling the coconut before we can enjoy the sweet water and tender meat inside it. Faith is not a tug of war between your desires and His grace, both of which are endless. Hoping that one day you'll lure your God into playing unfair. On the contrary, faith is letting go. It is raising your hands in surrender without giving up on your action. Faith is knowing that not every day out there will be sunny, and that's okay. It is realizing that dawn will follow the dusk. Faith is the awareness that a cloudy sky doesn't mean that the sun has set. To work on everything that you can and to let go of everything beyond your control is faith in a nutshell. Such faith, made up of action and surrender, is the most potent antidote to all fears. Thank you.